Hi, I'm Song Kim from Korea Institute for Curriculum and Evaluation. This presentation topic is attempt of convergence within the subject, focusing on density and buoyancy. Then I will start the presentation. Attempts for convergence education are generally made in a way that converges with other subjects. This attempt has been made in many studies. However, attempts of convergence between the content covered in the subject are not common. In particular, the science subject is divided into physics, chemistry, life science, and earth science. Each of these domains has historically been separated and developed, so each has its own uniqueness. The uniqueness of each domain is threat to attempting convergence between domains. This is because domain uniqueness can disappear through this convergence, and this result can be through to the survival of domain. For this reason, when developing a science textbook, after dividing the also by domain, write the textbook. Therefore, this is difficult to see an attempt to link between unit or to converse domain. This problem is that this approach doesn't have students. For an example, when dealing with the phenomena of floating and sinking on object, the phenomena are explained in physics and chemistry using the scientific concept of buoyancy and density. However, nowhere in the textbook is it stated for what reason these two concepts explain the same phenomena. This study tried to attempt to a convergence teaching strategy that comprehensively explain the buoyancy and density previous thought individually based on Archimedes' achievement. This convergence teaching strategy helps students move to a deeper understanding. In addition, the results of this study are expected to serve as a cornerstone for living fusion attempts on the content thought in the parallel within the subject. Archimedes used a tool balance to determine the magnitude of the buoyancy according to the volume difference to distinguish between pure gold and fake ground. Galilei, who re-examined his achievement, presumed to have put the balance in the water as a way to check the difference in buoyancy between the two objects. Lee and Beck argued that the two scientific concepts could be mutually transformed in floating and sinking phenomena. This referred to the possibility of convergence of the scientific concept in the phenomena of floating and sinking, and a method of putting the balance claimed by Galilei in the water as a convergence strategy needed to be devised. Through this review, we can visualize like this. It is possible to judge whether the object placed in the pool will floating or sinking through the balance. An object is placed on one arm of the balance and the displaced flew while the object is placed on the other arm. Gravity acts on both object and fluid. At this time, the weight of fluid corresponds to the buoyancy force. Depending on the magnitude of two forces, whether one on object floating or sinking is determined as if the balance moves according to the magnitude of two forces. This approach includes both the change of buoyancy force magnitude and the process of object floating. Figures show the change of buoyancy force magnitude in the process of floating object. Eventually, the object stops floating at the moment the buoyancy force and the weight of object are the same. Moreover, this visualization can confuse the concept of density and buoyancy. When water is added in the initial stage, it can be divided into three categories. One is when the density of an object is greater than that of fluid, and the other is when the density of fluid is greater. Last is the case where the object and fluid had same density. It can be seen from the figure presented the magnitude of buoyancy acting in each case is different. So, students can learn what the relationship between buoyancy and density. In order to find out the educational effect on the convergence attempt proposed in this study, first-year students in the middle school were subjected to a test developed by Beck et al. As a result, there was a significant increase as shown in table. The effect size of convergence attempt was 1.09, showing a very large effect size. The effect size is very large even taking into account the stress of this experimental design, suggests that convergence attempt is educational effective. This study attempted to convergence severe domain extending in the subject, and through research it was confirmed that such an attempt could be helpful to students. Many convergence studies attempt to converge between different disciplines, but prior to this, a lot of research is needed on whether convergence attempts are possible for multiple domains within the same subject. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.